Well, good day, everybody. Pardon my voice. I kind of got a little cold going on here. First day off, and I get a cold and get sick. So, how about that? I know I just got my equipment. I got a camera. Came in yesterday and that, and I'm still waiting for computer parts. Amazingly enough, to build the rest of the computer or build that computer. So that's going to be down the road. So I am running on the laptop now, which I was using in my Twitch streams before with my dual setup there, but I do not have that right now, and so hopefully by another month or two, maybe next year. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Let's see what happens. But anyways, apologize for my absence, but not from lack of watching what's going on. I know everybody knows what's going on in the states, the impeachment and all that, and wherever you may fall. But I'm more worried about and concerned and looking at like what's happening here in Canada, obviously, and with separation or putting the horse ahead of the cart ahead of the horse, but um, what Trudeau's been doing and the famous Liberal government, and I say famous because that's like notoriety throughout the world as everybody is wondering what the hell us people are thinking here. Realistically, other than Vancouver, the West basically went all conservative, which I really don't care for either now that they're in the leadership race. Peter MacKay threw his hat in, and Pierre Poilievre pulled out unexpectedly. Go figure. I don't even know what's going on there. Just kind of like whatever. But anyways, in my absence, our PM Village idiot took a nice holiday on our dime, of course, to Costa Rica. Now, as I'm sure everybody saw the pictures of him going to a store with a paper bag. I don't know what the hell he had in it, alcohol, who knows? I mean, potato chips, whatever. Not important. The only thing is he wasn't in Canada, and at that time, Iran shot down a passenger jet with Canadians on board. As most everybody, and I'm not telling, I shouldn't be telling that. I mean, everybody's probably heard of this already. But the response that he had at first was kind of, I know guys were saying, oh, well, got to give him credit because he kind of came out against, and I stress kind of came out against Iran. And then all of a sudden now, after the second statement was, well, it's Trump's fault for starting the thing in there. Go figure. You know, I'm not going to charge the guy holding the lighter that started my house on fire. I'm going to charge his dad because his dad beat him. Well, I mean, that same thing. It's crazy, ludicrous. But that is who we have as a prime minister. Like it or not, that is the prime minister of Canada. Now, obviously, most guys know by the changing surroundings. I've moved here. I'm back mining again in the coal mines, by golly. So I got to drink some water. I'm about to lose my damn voice here. But it became real obvious here that we are hanging in the balance, so to speak, um, being with all the climate change, global warming, whatever the hell you want to call it, going on. Um, that we basically here we're at the whim of the federal government, and that's not a. I will say now that I'm here, it's not a nice feeling. I mean, the company's doing well. Coal selling, get a good price, so which is good. I mean, that's, otherwise the mine wouldn't be running, obviously. But I'm kind of getting away from the point here. The point being is that it does not take, as we saw in the past. Coal mining is a dirty word. Coal miners are dirty people, and I know a few people are going to be watching that work with me, and that's very true. And I will point to statements made in the House of Commons over the last 4 years about it. So like the pipelines or like Alberta, um, with the oil sands, the oil and gas industry as a whole, just basically you're down because you're bad people. And they've got CBC, CTV, Global News all backing them up that can spread the message that, well, those 600 people can learn to code, so to speak, or, go find these high paying tech green jobs, which are non existent. Um, we seem to have got the carbon tax in, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think everybody kind of gets what I mean here. So having an idiot for prime minister with a group of clowns behind him, such as they are, it we're basically day to day. I mean, I keep expecting some announcement. I mean, let's take a look. Banff Island iron ore went down. That's 600 people, and that's up in Nunavut. Were laid off. Not a peep. We heard a couple of squibs on CBC, and that was it. I haven't heard anything lately. But that's sad. That's 600 people out of work. Those are good paying mining jobs. And to remind people, we are a resource country, and we are very well off resource wise. Forestry, gold, copper, lead, zinc, coal, you name it, oil, gas. We are very well situated in the world, you know. But as everybody probably noticed, our economy is flatlined. Why? Well, because mining resources and all that stuff is just a bad word to these people. And that's basically like the left wing in the United Nations. It's bad, bad. But if you look at it, and I would suggest go looking at the GDP and the numbers from StatsCan and um, how much money that actually produces for Canada, it's pretty substantial. And not only that, but it employs a lot of people who pay tax who keep the country running. And that's not even getting into the transfer payments and et cetera, et cetera. But I would suggest to everybody, just don't take my word what I'm saying for it, but actually research some of the stuff, look at it because it is public information. It's out there for anybody who has a whim to see it. Or the will to see it, and click the board. I mean, I guess I could put links there, so you can click them and just check this stuff out, which I'll probably do next video here, because I'm going to be doing one a week. But I would strongly suggest people go, start looking into this stuff. Start calling out look at the facts. These are the numbers that the government's actually putting out. They keep it real quiet, of course, they have for years, but it's there in plain sight for anybody to go see. So far, that's still our right, but I'm sure that's dwindling, along with the other one. But and I'm getting ahead of myself again. But we are not a high technology, green producing country, and it's a damn fool's game. Like I was thinking to myself today. I was just kind of reflecting on past, and yes, most people who ever watch my videos, I love history, so I read a lot about it. Like the mining history was one of the many things that I'm kind of interested in throughout the world. But we're blessed. There is basically nothing that you have: the laptop, the camera, your cell phone, your glasses, your cup of coffee you have in the morning is all tied to, and all the food you eat is all tied to mining, oil, and gas. When you go shopping, even if you walk there, things are wrapped in plastic. Things are delivered with, guess what, diesel fuel, all that, trucking, trains, ships. I mean, none of this stuff is running on green technology. So my point being is that, yes, if they lay us all off tomorrow, yeah, we're not going to be getting jobs in the tech industries. And as they slowly whittle us away, that's taking a lot of not only just working, but good paying jobs. These are gone. Now, if you got a guy like me, high school educated, I don't have a university background. As with most guys that I work with and have worked with over the decades, what are we going to do? How are you going to feed your family? I mean, if they decide tomorrow, and I get it. I mean, I know mines go up, mines shut down, all that, but as it is, it used to be the pool was quite large. There was lots of mines going. Jobs were, I wouldn't say easy to come by, but it's not as hard as it is today. So if the mine went down today, what would you do? Where would you go? I mean, everything is really starting to get pared down. That window got narrower and narrower and narrower from when I was a young lad and I started. That window, especially in the last 4 years, has really, really narrowed. Does it affect us? Well, you tell me. You go to the store, has food gotten cheaper? Has gas gotten cheaper? Has anything you're buying really gotten any cheaper? The mail you get, how does that deliver here? Same thing. You get the point of my argument here. So it'd be nice to sit there and say, well, it does not affect me, but I have to say au contraire, because it does. If you buy food, you watch the internet, you have a computer, you have a cell phone, and you get my point. That's all tied into it. So they take all that away. What are we going to do? Now, to kind of add on to that or carry on with the carbon tax, especially here in British Columbia, where I live, I was talking with, actually I had put out for MLA, I was asking, I would like my MLA to send me the budget saying, because we've got one of the highest carbon taxes in Canada, in North America for that matter, where is this money all going? Because they're collecting it province-wide, not just in Vancouver or that, it's province-wide, from the Yukon border all the way down to the Washington border, to the Alberta border, to the Pacific coast. Everywhere. So I'm one of those people is that I want to see, okay, I hear all the great words about we got to do public transportation, which mostly pertains to the mainland Vancouver, making things better, more reliant on whatever. That goes back to my previous statement about green technology, where the hell is it? So the MLA that I wrote in Surrey never got back to me at all. Never, not a peep. So I came up here and I called, and forgive me because I don't remember names quite well. I guess I could have wrote it down, but I didn't. But the MLA for the northern region here, I called. I don't just write. I call them, and I usually write to MP, MLA. At least I try once a month. I'm not always successful, but for the majority of the time I am. Anyways, when I called, I specifically asked the MLA here, who's a liberal, provincial liberal, could I get a breakdown of the taxes for BC? Like where it's, in particular, the carbon tax. Like, okay, you go buy gas, you go buy whatever, it's got carbon tax added on it. Where's that money going? Well, he wrote back and he kind of talked out of both sides of his mouth, not surprising. But he said when the Liberals were in power under Christy Clark, and I love this word, revenue neutral. But, and you hear that from the federal government now. But anyways, they said Horgan, who's the premier of British Columbia right now, changed that after they got elected. And now that money from the carbon tax in British Columbia goes into the proverbial black hole of government called general revenue. For those of you who do not know what general revenue is, basically line items, and it can go anywhere. So they're taking this carbon tax in to say want to build a subway line or make more transportation for the north, whatever. Nothing. It's just gone. A black hole. It's gone. So now trying to trace all that, and I put in another request for more of a breakdown in the general revenue where it goes, which I doubt I will get. But that just goes to show this is like, if it goes into general revenue, basically they can use it anywhere. They can pay for, healthcare, which I think that's part of what they're doing, being you're not paying for it anymore if you're a certain um, uh, wage group. But other than that, good luck. We got an election coming up here in BC, provincial, soon. I think next year, if I'm not, just somewhere in there. Anyways, that would be a good one to ask candidates running. Where does this money? Not that it's going to do any good, because they'll go off in some frickin' tangent, like they're so famously do, without answering the question, and you'll still have that question mark over your head, like what the hell is this person talking about? But anyways, that's where our carbon tax dollars is going. It is not going into anything basically useful that I can see. It's just basically supporting what they've already got to make them look like, oh, what have we done for you? No, we're paying for it. You're using our money to pay for whatever it is you're paying for, because you can't trace it. Because as soon as it hits general revenue, it's all over the place. So good luck. I'm trying to find out more, but as it stands today, that's where we're at. It's just, money's gone. It's just like, you hear all these really nice buzzwords from the left, like the NDP and the Liberals, the Federals. Yes, oh, look at this. So there you go. All the tax dollars you're paying for the carbon taxes, like you figured, it's just another tax grab, another way to get more money out of you. So that's confirmed. That's not making this stuff up. And if you so choose, you can find out the same thing I did. So, if you find out more than I did, anytime, but leave a comment when you find it. And make a link to where you posted the documents, if any. But yeah, just let everybody know. But as it stands, your carbon tax dollars are just going to support any pet project that Oregon decides. So, and remember who's propping them up, the Green Party. So there you go. So that's where. Now we'll go back, just backtrack a bit. Revenue neutral carbon tax. And you hear the federal government was espousing this not that long ago. 2019, 2018, when they were pushing it, before they were forcing a lot of the provinces to bring this in. Of course, BC had a carbon brag. We were the first province to bring in the carbon tax. Boy, aren't we lucky? Yeah, except for us dirty miners and forestry guys and oil and gas worker guys. We're gonna make you guys pay. How dare you earn a good living for your family? And basically, that's what I get out of the take. But anyways, revenue neutral. Okay, so first question that popped into my head when I hear that, especially from the federal Liberals, is okay, if it's revenue neutral, why even bother having a carbon tax? And second one is does anybody get any money back from the carbon tax, or all of your money back? Because revenue neutral means if you pay it, you get it back. Your cost is zero. That's what it's supposed to mean. I would be surprised if anybody, especially up here or anywhere, who's getting this money? Who are these people that are getting this revenue neutral carbon tax? Who? Where? You hear these generalities. Well, it's revenue neutral for all the people. Okay, well, I for one, my family, we don't get anything back. I've talked to a lot of other families. Nobody. In some cases, the first time people heard about it. So, revenue neutral is one of those broad perspective statements, meaning that we ain't got a goddamn clue. Just give us the money, shut up, smile, because we're making your life better by taking money away from you. That's it in a nutshell. I mean, that's where we're at. It's not revenue neutral. Every time you go fill up your vehicle, unless, up here you can't drive a Tesla because there's no charging stations. You you can't make any long trips because no charging stations. And when it gets cold, those batteries lose about half their life anyway, so you can't travel in the winter anyway. So let's hear it for revenue neutrality. Another liberal lie. Imagine that, eh? So brings me to what I've been talking about, the separation of the West from the rest of Canada. With all that I've just stated, and that's not all of it, that's just a very small piece. Why would you want to stay in a country that is stealing money from you? Because, I mean, yeah, they're the government. They can do what they want. They're robbing us. That's not blanket. And people need to start paying attention and speaking up and refusing to pay things. I know most people won't because, until they get unemployed and the money's getting tight and then they're spending money and then they realize how much money they're actually spending on this stuff, then they pay attention. But until that point, well, I'm pretty comfortable, so I'm good. I'm not going to rock the boat kind of thing. But if it affects you, and you start realizing it's already too late. I guess that's kind of being a little hyperbolic there, but essentially, there are things we can do. I mean, we can protest it. Number one, I don't know, probably not many people will. It's kind of like, like I said, apathy. Hear a lot of grumbling, but nobody's ever willing to do anything. And that's courtesy of Prime Minister Village-Idiot. I mean, how did this guy get elected? Well, I think we all know the answer to that we knew the results of the election again before it left Ontario. So there you go. Yay, we got conservatives out here. Woohoo! Yeah, they're in opposition. They can't get their shit together because Andrew Scheer quit, etc., etc. So that's done. There's not going to be another election for a while because I don't see the Parti Québécois voting in a vote of non-confidence unless something majorly happens, which I doubt, in the next couple, 3 years. And I fully expect that the government's going to stand for the 4-year term. So why would we want to stay here? Because the same thing's going to happen over and over again. Now, if you wait, and I can't stress this enough, if you wait till it actually really hits you hard, we're already behind the 8 ball. Excuse me. And so separation would be the only answer. Now, I see it, and if you've watched and listened to any of my videos, I see it basically as an exciting time. I mean, some people are scared. What are we going to do? How are we going to get the oil and gas to port? Blah, blah, blah. Well, we can't anyways. Okay, we can't. They have built pipelines, and that's a huge part of our economy that's down the tubes right now. That's why Alberta and Saskatchewan are getting so hammered, and northern British Columbia. That's why they're getting hammered right now. So, what do? Separation. Well, that's scary. Yes, it is. But at the same time, it's a golden opportunity. From learning from all the mistakes over the last 150-some years that Canada has been in existence as a confederation, to make a constitution that actually works for us people. And that opportunity doesn't come along every lifetime. That is rare. And as far as getting our resources to port, well, we get northern BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba to go. That opens up a whole port there around Prince Rupert. So And then we can start charging taxes on anything coming across our country to get to lower mainland BC, because they're not going to go. For those of you who are against separation, I have this for you. Do you honestly think Quebec and Ontario are going to give up any power to the West as far as how many seats are elected out here? Basically equalize things. That will never happen. That hasn't happened, and like I said, again, I'll refer back to my other videos when I said 40 years ago, we had this almost same thing happen when his dad brought in the National Energy Program. I mean, it freaking decimated us out there. I was working as drilling on the oil rigs at the time, so I remember that quite clearly. And then fast forward, 40 years ago, we have now come full circle, and we're still standing in the same spot. So do you think in 40 years, if nothing's changed, that another 40 years is going to change anything? Or do you think those guys down east are going to wake up and say, I mean, look at Toronto, can almost single-handedly defeat us out here. Look what happened to Toronto. I mean, with all the immigrants they brought in, all the subjects that I've talked about previously are starting to come to fruition now. Or have come to fruition, quite literally. And the last federal election should have been a wake-up call to everybody out here. The system does not work. The system will not change. It didn't change in 40 years. It's not going to change in 50 years. It ain't going to change in 80 years. I'm not going to be around in another 40, so I already went through that rodeo, and 40 years later, we're still right back at the same goddamn spot. That didn't work. So, how many times do you need to get fooled before you figure out that it doesn't work? A lot of us ain't going to be around in the next 40 years. So we just keep going, and we're just stuck in this loop. Yes, we'll work within Canada. Pretty words, 40 years. We've done that. We've gone absolutely nowhere. We're back. Oh, well, we can't separate because something, feel bad. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? And you see what I'm saying. It's a cycle. History proves it. Countries don't last. They don't. Canada's a failed experiment as far as I'm concerned. That's it. And now, speaking of experiments, that's exactly what they're doing in Canada. How do you suppose all these immigrants landed here? Oh, that was the other thing in the news. That other people were laughing at me, still somewhat laughing at me. And I said, we have 4 years to separate. Because if not, they're going to parachute a bunch of immigrants into Saskatchewan and Alberta, possibly northern BC, tip that balance. Because if you bring immigrants in, most of them are strongly liberal. Take a look at Toronto. You don't have to get hit with the hammer every time to figure out, say, hey, I don't like that hammer hitting me. That's what's happening. For the last 3 months, the Liberal government's brought in 200,000 immigrants. In 3 months. Check it out. Don't take my word for it. Research it. So if they start dropping these in, tip the scale, and that's why I say 4 years. That's what they're going to do. Why would you change the Constitution and the power balance if you can just basically breathe us out? Now I'm using that again, I'm being hyperbolic when I say that, but basically we just import people in, we'll outnumber them that way. And it's good because that's what the UN wants. You know, open borders, blah, 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 which basically Canada has right now. You know, there's no muffler in the system. Well, I guess that's exhausting. So, you know, there's nothing on the intake. It's just, there's no filters. Nothing. These people are coming here. There's certain people. My family, we're still having issues with the kids, getting the kids over here. Why? Well, God, and I really hate to say this, but it just comes down to they're the wrong color and the wrong religion, essentially. That's we'll have that discussion in another video, but in a nutshell, That's what it is. And now that's starting to happen. So you can't put your head in the sand forever. Like I said, if it comes to the point where it's hit you really hard and majorly, it's already too late. Now is the time to do something. Stand up. Say, I'm not paying my taxes. Whatever. Defer. You don't have to you can put your tax forms in every 5 years. Federally. Provincially. So, there you go. Why not do it that way? Start joining, like I'm not saying, research the Wexit movement. Things to do with separation, because we need people on board. We need bright people on board. We need people who are knowledgeable, because there's going to be a lot of bullshit getting thrown around right shortly. And I think the silence out of Ottawa is going to be broken, where now we're going to get the CBC, CTV, and Global News, which, I mean, it's already starting to happen, being they get 600 million between CTV and Global and 1.6 billion to CBC. Every year, that's your tax dollars used against you. It's a propaganda war. So if CBC, CTV, Global News says it, it must be true. It must be. Facebook, well, that's a write-off. Twitter, I don't even look at Twitter anymore. I got banned on it because that's just a fake world. So this is where we're at. I mean, we're going to get basically overpopulated, and we will not have a say. We will lose it. And that's why I'm saying 4 years. This government's not going to fall in less than, not going to fall like in a year or 2 years. He will be around for another 4 years. You can say, no, that's not right. It's going to be defeated, but take a good hard look. Do you really, really think that? Do you think we can afford another 4 years of this guy by doing nothing, sitting here grumbling amongst ourselves and doing absolutely nothing? I can't make the decision for you. You have to decide that. So, and I'm not telling anybody what to do. This is just recommendations, and I fully expect people with any kind of intelligence, not just to take my word for it or disagree when I say, go actually and look at this stuff and research it. It's all out there. All of it. And it's good practice for people to say, hey, maybe I should get off of Facebook or whatever you're into and maybe Google some of this stuff. So you're on the computer or the phone anyway, so what the hell? Check it out. If you don't know, write me here, comment. I'll help you out. But knowledge is power. And if you stick your head in the sand and say, that's those other guys. Then when it affects you, that's what people will tell you when you scream for help. They'll say, yeah, that's those other guys. Divide and conquer. That's the oldest. That's been around for 1,000 years, probably more. So I don't take myself as an idiot, and I'm pretty sure most people aren't. But if you put your head in the sand and you ignore it, no, I think you know where I'm going with that one. So just some food for thought there. What I think is going to happen. But we honestly, I do not see any hope for staying in Canada. I really don't. Your guns are going by the wayside. Internet, if you look at what he's doing with the internet. And I mean, anybody who says they don't associate with idiots and don't do anything, do associate with idiots. So quit thinking so highly of yourself and start not associating with idiots, aka federal government, liberals, and start digging into it. Touch on another point, Jason Kenney. Now, Jason Kenney may sound like a really nice guy and that. Jason Kenney wants to be Prime Minister of Canada somewhere down the line. Realistically, check the news. What has he done? I mean, after learning, we've already talked for 40 years before this. What is he possibly going to say? Yeah, we're going to withhold the pension and the health care and that. They still got to pay the transfer payments. They can't. They can't stop that. That was equalization, and that's federal law. So, it's like those are band-aids. And unless something changes really quick, I'm talking within the next 6 months here, then you reap what you sow. Well, I shouldn't say that. I guess that's a bad analogy. But basically, if you do nothing, expect that and less in return. That's what's going to happen. They're going to take more. And don't take my word. You think I'm, people who think, oh, you're just being a scaremonger. Take a look. They take more and more and more. And, you got to work longer, It's crazy. It's crazy. And I can't see how people ignore it. But they do. So that would be my advice, or my recommendation, I guess would be more of a big thing, is just go scope it out, take a look. Maybe some of you already know about this and just don't know what to do. Well, join the movement. Take a look at separation. Think about, if we want to separate, what would you like to see in a constitution? Because we get to do, that's why I say it's exciting. We would get to do this all over again, and ourselves, the people would write it. We do things that benefit for us. We can actually change this. We can actually put the narrative on what we think would be good. I mean, there's a reason that the United States Constitution is one of the greatest ever written. And yes, I got a lot of respect for the Americans. Yes, I like Donald Trump. As a person, hey, he's looking after his country. So he makes tweets and he pisses certain people off. Big deal. I don't care. I want our guy we're paying big dollars for here to do the same thing. He doesn't. He's just all this virtue signaling bullshit, shoring up the left, screwing up our kids, and that. Take a look at our education. So I talked to several people around here, excuse me, about school systems here. I said, it's bad. It's like a bunch of lefty propaganda, basically, and that's what they're teaching your kids. Are you okay with that? That's true. Let me tell you, socialism doesn't work. Again, excuse me. Socialism doesn't work. As has been said, there's very, very, very little difference between socialism and communism. So there you go. Or Muslim, which is again, I would say, is kind of come as funny. Tickle in the throat. Sorry about that. Islam and Muslims are not a race of people. It's a religion. And unfortunately, it's getting a strong foothold here in Canada. Why? Why would we pay a known terrorist, Omar Kadar, $10.5 million? Then just to find out he's a guest speaker at Dalhousie for children's soldiers, which is a nice way of cleansing him, to make him look like, oh, well, wasn't his fault. Yeah, remember, he killed people. He was making IEDs that killed people. Possibly some Canadian soldiers, who knows? Damn it. Excuse me again. But I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. Things have to change. What are you willing to give up for that? Are you going to give your guns up? Or are you going to give your car up? Are you going to give your job up? Because these are going to be the choices we're going to have to make before this 4 years are up. And I would prefer not to have to do it, because that never turns out well. Because you piss enough people off, and then there's a conflict. Verbal, physical, whatever you want to call it. Take a look at SNC Lavalin to kind of shore this up. What's happening? The RCMP were supposedly investigating Trudeau for corruption and all that stuff, which, I mean, is blatant. At the very least, it merits a independent investigation. Nothing. So what does that tell you? System right now is heavily favoring the East, not the West. I don't live in the West or the East. I live in the West. So does probably many other people. So what are we going to do about it? I'll leave that in here. Leave a comment down below, or hit the subscribe button. You know, I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for views or shares or whatever. I mean, yes, I would appreciate it, but I don't really care if I make money off this. But I just need people to get off their goddamn asses and start doing things and start having conversations. I mean, you don't have to change it majorly, but Jesus, every once in a while, they're get together with people of like minds and start saying, hey, we got to change this. You know, you like hunting, you like fishing, you like your guns, you like your vehicles, you like that. Well, if you don't do something, you're not going to have those for very long, and you're not going to be able to take care of your family because you will be, as socialism and communism like to do, dependent on the government. Because people who are dependent on the government are going to vote for the government because they're worried about losing all the free stuff. And if you take all these jobs away, who the hell is going to pay for it? You can only spend, as most of you folks know, households, you can only go into debt for so long. And then somebody wants to get paid. Then what? If you've got hardly any people working, who's going to pay for it? And just kind of final, because I'm going to get off here before I start hacking on you all again, is historically, usually when the U.S. economy goes up, so does the Canadian economy kind of piggybacks on that. Well, their U.S. economies, skyrocketed. You can say what you want about Trump. He did what he said. Imagine that. What a novel concept. A politician's actually doing what he promised. Got the economy out, getting businesses to return. Gee whiz. And none of the left wing, they can't even argue that. You know, I'm not going to go into impeachment and that because that's just all bullshit. That's all like not even great window dressing. It's like watching a bad dream with a bunch of idiots doing it. But Trump is taking the economy up. Like I said, theirs is going up, ours flatlined. Why? Why aren't we really going up? Well, because we've lost how many billions in investments over the last 4 years? And again, I will think, don't take my word for it, go look it up. That's all public information for anybody and his dog to go look at. So please, go check it out. You will get pissed off and you will say, what the hell? People are telling you it's worse. Well, I'm here to say it is, and it's going to get a lot worse. Because this isn't going to end. And something's going to snap. I would prefer before that happens and we get into something we really don't want to get into, time to move on, say, been a nice ride, but hey, you know, you guys are fucking up majorly, we gotta go. That's the crux of it. And if we get everybody together, write a constitution, make deals with the United States, I'm not saying join the United States, although I wouldn't be totally against that. But, I mean, at least we have our own representation there with our own constitution. We've got the infrastructure here. Why not? What possibly could you lose? Think strategically. Start using your brains, people. Start talking. Start getting together and start seeing what this stuff's all about. But I can kind of say, and if you disagree with me, fine, put down why you disagree with me. And not, well, Canada's a great place. Okay, well, that's, I wholeheartedly disagree. It's not what it was 30, 40 years ago. We're sliding bad and hard. Like it went from a slow decline, now we're at the drop off where we're just sinking like a freaking rock here. So before something catastrophic happens, please take my words, heed them. Look at the stuff I asked you to look at. I'm not forcing anybody to, but I would say if you're at all concerned about your family's welfare and your own welfare and where your next paycheck's coming from, I would suggest strongly looking into this, what I've been talking about. Anyways, I appreciate you guys listening. I'll be doing this once a week, maybe twice a week now, so on my days off now. So anyways, this is Two Rivers, Mark Pope out. You guys have a good one, and we'll talk to y'all later.